Welcome to Let's Discuss, the show where we talk about things that we think are worth discussing. Well, one of us thinks is worth discussing, the other two are just kind of dragged along for the ride.
Look accurate description.
You're right.
Today we're going to be talking about Ted Bundy and the new movie that's coming out starring Zac Efron about Ted Bundy. Have you guys heard anything about the new movie?
I saw a picture.
You saw a picture? Okay, cool. That's enough. Dylan normally doesn't know much about anything, so he said he's heard the name of Ted Bundy.
That's pretty much the extent of my knowledge.
Okay, cool. So I will tell you a little bit about him. I'll tell you a little bit about him first and like the crimes that he committed. He was an American serial killer in the early 70s to late 70s. Like he went from 72 to 76 or something like that, I think it was. And he admitted to killing 30 women, but the number that some people calculate is easily over 100 that he killed.
That's hella sexist.
No, he only killed women because, blah blah blah. Like he was like a woman slasher kind of thing. Since he did all his stuff, there have been countless movies that have been based off him, characters are based off him. He was that serial killer that used to have a cast on his arm or would be in a wheelchair or something, and he would lure these chicks by acting like he was impaired, and then he would just fucking use his full strength to get these chicks into his van or whatever.
Oof. Right.
So he killed 11 girls in Washington, 8 in Utah, 3 in Colorado, 3 in Florida, 2 in Oregon, 2 in Idaho, and 1 in California. So in 7 different states.
Spread out.
Yeah, in 7 different states. He escaped prison twice.
Holy shit.
And went back on the run both times. And he had one of those faces that he could just put a beard on and no one would recognize him. So yeah, it was kind of like a crazy. He was also really big with he was very charming and no one believed he was just from a normal family,
20 charisma.
Yeah, he was a really good talker. No one believed that he was the one to do these horrible things until eventually the evidence just was too much. So now that I've talked a little bit about him and who he is, I'll show you this trailer for this new movie starring Zac Efron. You can tell me what you guys think about the trailer and about what the movie looks like.
Alright.
I'll cut in between this so that we don't get copyright strike like we do on every other fucking Discuss.
What do you say we get out of here?
Cool.
What is it about this guy? When I feel his love, I feel like I'm on top of the world.
There are things you don't know
Hi, officer. I think I must be lost.
that will shock you beyond your worst nightmare. I am innocent. You don't actually believe this garbage, do you?
It's in all the papers, Ted.
Monkey! Oh!
How did his name get on that suspect list?
Oh, that's a crowbar.
I want to come see you.
I was really hoping you'd say that.
Wait, so he had a missus.
Is about
Yeah,
catching a monster.
he had a daughter.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Oh my God,
I
Mr.
am
Sheldon.
that innocent suspect.
You are skating on thin ice, partner.
The media has convicted Ted before he's had his day in court.
I'm gagged, and you're not.
I wonder whether he did it or not.
I'm more popular than Disney World.
He's
Did
very
you do
cool.
these things?
Absolutely not. Let's get back to plotting my escape here.
Okay, so what do you guys think of that trailer about a movie about a serial killer?
Look, I really think the directors are just really scraping the bottom of the
Bottom of the bell.
Bottom of the barrel, do you mean?
barrel. I fucked up.
What do you mean by that?
Sure, it's a good story, but is it really a story we want to make movies out of? Actual... I
Well-
understand a documentary, but
The way
something...
the way that I see that trailer is like a lot of people are really pissed off about it because it seems like it's just a light-hearted movie about a serial killer. You know what I mean?
You have a point.
And I think that's that from the way that trailer was cut, it definitely seems that way. But that could just be the trailer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he was very charismatic and everything like that. Like
Yeah, it's supposed to be like that.
he's supposed to be like, yeah. And he was so full of himself. Like he represented himself at trial because he thought he could get himself off, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He refused his lawyers shit. He fired his lawyers and then decided to do his own representation.
When has that ever worked?
And then he, like, that scene there where you see him
I am
that there, he actually did that. He compared himself to Jesus on a crucifix in court to his jurors. Like, he thought he was such. At the end of the trailer where he says, like, I'm bigger than Disney World, he's literally, like, this is what his character was like. I don't know whether he said he's bigger than Disney World. However, that is definitely
He's more popular.
Yeah, well, more popular, sorry. But that is definitely what, you know, his the person's character was like, you know? This is an interview I found with him where he's just like, he did not admit to any of his crimes until one day before his execution. So he pled like not guilty the whole time.
You are not guilty.
One of those interviews.
I'm not guilty. Does that include the time I stole a comic book when I was 5 years old? I am not guilty of the charges which have been filed against me.
And the allegations.
And the allegations.
The rumors and the
I don't know all of what you're speaking about, Lucky. It's too broad and I can't get into it in any detail. But I'm satisfied with my blanket statement that I'm innocent. No man is truly innocent. I mean, we all have transgressed in some way
Said
in our
like
lives.
a true
And as I
guilty
say,
man.
That's right.
I've been impolite, and there are things I regret having done in my life. But nothing like the things I think that you're referring to. I've been told.
It's crazy. Like he almost convinced himself that he didn't do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then this is a video from before he was executed.
You know, if I were able to ask you the questions that are being asked out there, one of the most important as you come down to
It's like he's on
perhaps your
fucking
final
Oprah.
hours, are you thinking about all those victims out there and their families who are so wounded, you know, years later, their lives have not returned to normal. They will never return to normal.
Absolutely.
Are you carrying that load, that weight? Is the remorse there?
Again, I know that people will accuse me of being self-serving, but we're beyond that now. I mean, I'm just telling you how I feel. But through God's help, I have been able to come to the point where much too late, but better late than never, feel the hurt and the pain that I am responsible for. Yes, absolutely. In the past few days, myself and a number of investigators have been talking about unsolved cases, murders that I was involved in. And it's hard to talk about all these years later because it revives in me all those terrible feelings and those thoughts that I have steadfastly and diligently.
He talks like he kind of regrets, you know, but I don't think he does. You know what I mean?
See,
I think
that sounds like a different person to before.
yeah, I think he knows what he's doing. Like he knows he's lost, so now he wants to make himself look like remorseful in the eyes of the public. Everything he did was like so that he could be perceived as this, you know, nice person, like a normal person. He constantly stated that he was not from a broken family. He was raised, he went to church, he did all of this, the right stuff. Like he was this serial killer that was unlike any other serial killer. Like he didn't get fucking, you know, abused as a child, which is what leads to a lot of serial killers. Like nothing really bad happened to him in his childhood. He was just born, you know, to kill.
A psychopath.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like now we see that, you know, now we understand that people are just born like this and they like it doesn't necessarily have to come from a broken home. But
What is the statistic of how many psychopaths are there? Is it like
Um,
1 in 7 or something?
yeah.
Pretty dangerous using Google on
Yeah.
a video. What's
I
that
don't,
search history like?
It's like it says 1% of the general
So
population.
1 in 100.
And as much as 25% of male offenders. Blah, 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 blah. 1% of the world's population. That's a lot
That's a hell of a lot.
of the world's population. The world's population is 7 billion, isn't it? 8 billion now, maybe.
Well over.
So, geez. 1% of that is like, that's a lot. That's a lot, man. That's a fucking lot. That's,
I reckon to be. It's
Probably a bit
probably
higher.
higher.
yeah, I reckon it's higher than 1%, but, you can't really prove this,
How many
those
of them
statistics.
are actually violent?
Yeah,
Yeah. Like,
a lot of them hold it back.
that's true. But I've always
Or
thought this,
become
right?
artists.
I have thought this, like, about, murderers and pedophiles and people like that. Like, it takes one person to think these thoughts, they think that, fuck, I want to kill him or, whatever like that. It takes another person to actually do it. You know what I mean? Like, these thoughts come across people. Like, a pedophile can say, oh, man, I'm attracted to that child, but, know that it's wrong and not do it.
Yeah.
It takes another kind of person to grab that child and then do something bad to them.
Why would you use that comparison?
I'm just thinking as like, I think murder and sexual offences against children are both on the same level of horribleness.
Yeah, you've got a point there.
If you watch Criminal Minds,
Hmm.
all of the psychopaths' urges can be taken back to a sexual origin.
Yeah, well, that's what Ted Bundy, like, he did an interview. I don't want to look for it now, but he did do an interview where he said that psychopaths are addicted to pornography, which, like, makes sense. But I feel like,
Dylan's a psychopath.
yeah, probably. But I think that Ted Bundy was just trying to blame it on something else and make himself look, better.
Yeah.
By trying to blame pornography. But, like, it just blows my mind. I watched a doco on Ted Bundy the other day. There's a new documentary on Netflix called The Confession Tapes or Ted Bundy Tapes or something like that, where he recorded these tapes with these interviewers about, the crimes and everything like that. And he kind of talked in the third person about the crimes. But it fucking blows my mind that these people, like in the documentary, it goes through his whole like life and career as a serial killer, and it fucking makes me so like furious how everyone just thought that he was this nice dude, and like at every opportunity to manipulate someone he would, and people like wouldn't understand that that's what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Like he escaped from prison the first time. Well, he didn't escape from prison. He was going to court, and then he was left in a room unattended, not handcuffed, not chained to anything. And it's in that trailer. He just jumped out a window and ran.
As
Like,
you do.
who was fucking guarding this dickhead?
That just screams guilty.
Yeah, like, but he then said, I've been locked up for 6 months. I just wanted to be free, which I mean is a human instinct. Like, I get that. I understand. Like, that need. And people, like, I feel like if this case were happening today, I might believe him. You know what I mean? If I was back then, I might go, yeah, well, we've never, like, he doesn't seem like a serial killer. You know what I mean?
That's the whole ploy of his personality.
I know. Now we
Yeah,
get that, but
that's
back
it.
then, like, no, they didn't get that because there were only serial killers. Like, serial killers were only just starting around the 70s and like early 70s.
I mean, they weren't just starting. We were just starting to understand them.
Yeah, but like, they were a thing, but they really came into prominent. Like, they were really happening in the 70s. Like, that's when most of the big.
That's when the population started to get bigger.
Yeah, that's when the big serial killer.
That's when the exponential growth really took a hold.
Yeah, well, I don't know what to blame for the serial killers coming out of the woodworks, but I guess that could be it. But like, and then the second time he escaped prison, he just cut a fucking hole in his roof and just crawled out, and like no one noticed until the next day.
Marshmallows.
It was made out of like the normal, like what your wall would be made out of, like,
yeah. If it was like plasterboard.
yeah, like plasterboard. That's right. It wasn't really like a proper cell. You know, like it was just like a police station cell.
Whose idea was that?
Yeah, like he'd escaped once and they just put him back in and he just cut his way out.
Surrounded by concrete. No,
It's
I have a
crazy,
better idea.
Anyway,
Plasterboard.
yeah, like look, that's
cheap.
Anyway, the story of Ted Bundy is pretty cruel. I think it's worth making a movie about. However, that a movie about Ted Bundy is exactly what Ted Bundy would have wanted, and I think that it's kind of shit. Like, do you really want? You know, he's probably in hell, or if you believe in that kind of stuff, he would be in hell for sure. But you know, like, if he could see this, he would be fucking smiling. Like, you know what I mean?
Good thing he can't.
Yeah, luckily.
What if ghosts are real?
Yeah, like he's just watching these. He's just haunting these guys on set. It's.
What if whenever you have an itch, it's when a ghost is touching you?
What if the ghost is touching you with its dick?
Okay, that's Dylan.
Right.
But we're getting off topic here. Yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you guys think about?
Hang on a second, I have an itchy butt.
What do you guys think about Ted Bundy? Comment below, let us know. Subscribe and see our other Let's Discuss videos in the playlist. And yeah, if you want to see more, subscribe to see more. Thank you. Bye.